We attempt to decode the crisis, the operations, and the politics with two critical voices. Dr. Dixon Osagie is counter-terrorism specialist and global security analyst, is joined by Chukwuma Okpalizeku, who's Igbo youth leader. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the program this evening. Let me begin with Dr. Osagie. This is now two major attacks in 1 week across the same axis. Gunmen moving with cattle, we're told, coordinated, heavily armed. What does that tell you about the operational confidence and possibly the supply chain behind this group?
It's a disturbing issue, and that also is an indication that Nigeria is fast becoming a criminogenic country or a crime scene, because we can't have these non-state actors holding us in a state of unrest and also going after our people, and also eliminating our people in their places of work, in churches and other areas. And I tell you that this is a joke taken so far by our security design. It's a joke taken so far by our national security strategy, because I think that national security strategy needs to be revamped and also to be reviewed as well. Let's understand what are the measures put in place to ensure that these criminal guys, they do not carry out their criminal activities and go back to their governed space or to their safe haven and take shelter without being attacked. I tell you for free, that if we want to go by the measures of security applications, first of all, we need to understand that we should not always be, we shouldn't apply reactive measures when it comes to security incident, because what I see in our own situation, is that we're always being reactive. You know, we have the preventive measures, we have the proactive measures, we have the responsive measures, and also we have the proactive measures. But the problem here we have is that we're always being reactive after the commission of crime. Each time you react after the commission of crime, that tells you that security has been defeated. And if security is being defeated, that tells you that we need to go back to the drawing board and assess what the situation is. I will tell you for free, that this criminal element disturbing the territorial space of Nigeria, they are not up to 1% of the entire population of Nigeria. And why are they being victorious in their evil enterprise and in their evil agenda? Simply because we do not have a coordinated security measures in place to ensure that we prevent this issue from happening, first of all. And even though we don't have the capability to prevent this criminal attack, we should have the capability to respond. What are our response measures? Because the response measures should not exceed 45 minutes when there's a commission of crime or when there's a crime in progress. So we need to review the national security response measures, preventive measures, reactive measures, and proactive measures, so that we'll be able to mitigate criminal activities bedeviling the territorial space of Nigeria.
Absolutely. Dr. Saja, you're trying hard to christen me again. The name is Nifemi, but you said Ni. I know both starts with N, right? But I want you to learn it. It's different. Let me bring in Chukwuma into this conversation if you're there. As a youth leader, walk us through the perception among young people, especially in your region, about the capacity and willingness of government to actually nip this in the bud and end this menace.
Again, please, I lost you at the end.
Well, I'm asking what you make of the perception amongst young people in the Southeastern region about the capacity and willingness of government to actually end this menace.
Okay, thank you. From our own point of view in Southeast here, we do not actually feel the entire goodwill of government as commitment to end this menace. We do not feel it as a people, but in my personal opinion, I want to commend the recent response of the federal government through the National Security Advisor with the meeting the NSA had with the secretary, the U.S. Secretary, Department of War. The outcome of the meeting signaled enhanced collaboration with Nigeria in terms of intelligence gathering and sharing. This will go a long way in the spirit of sincerity to ensure that impact is maximized and purpose served towards ending this menace. Then for us in Southeast, you know that just on the 20th, 5 days ago, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was convicted for a life imprisonment. There are mixed feelings here. Some are not happy, many are not happy, many felt somehow in comparison to how the government has treated such or even worse matters in court. For instance, somebody who has confessed to, to terrorism was accorded only 20 years in jail, while somebody who most of us felt was not properly tried got life imprisonment. The majority are feeling so bad, but in my personal opinion, and as a leader of the Igbo youths, we tagged that judgment a welcome development. This is because for years, our brother has been in awaiting trial. That is injustice. And we have called for judgment, no matter how ugly or fair it might be, and the judgment is here. We are happy that the judgment is here because number one, we have called, we are convinced that political solution is the only approach that will yield the desired result. And the president, who is in the position to attend to this political solution, do not have access to attend to the matter because the matter is in court. When a matter is sub judice, any responsible law-abiding human being must wait for the determination of that matter by a court of competent jurisdiction.
All right.
Therefore, now that there is a judgment, irrespective of how unfair it is, we are convinced that Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief now has the onus, the opportunity, and the privilege to grant him pardon in the name and for the sake of national healing.
All right.
And
I hear you clearly. I will take a short break. I also like to hear Dr. Saji's opinion on this, especially how it impacts on our fight against terrorism and the wave of violence that we are now recording in the country. Stay with us, everyone. Thank you for staying with us, everyone. Dr. Dickson Osagie is counterterrorism specialist and global security analyst. Chukwuma Okpalizuku is a national youth leader in Southeast Nigeria. Gentlemen, thank you so much for staying the course on the program. Dr. Osagie, I'd like to get your response to, the opinion expressed by Chukwuma earlier. I'm sure you are following very closely the strong reactions that have been triggered by the life sentence handed to Nnamdi Kanu. He's also made reference to the ISWAP leader who got 20 years imprisonment relative to a life sentence for Nnamdi Kanu. How do you see this impact on our onslaught against terrorism? And what would be the security implication of a political pardon as been suggested by stakeholders in that region?
And apology once more for calling you Nee. I agree with some of the points raised by my co-discussant. And I tell you that what I've seen so far and what is happening in my country, Nigeria, is so disturbing. That is classified as selective justice, Crime and punishment, I've said this on many fora, that crime and punishment works hand in hand. Punish one, punish all. In 2015, when the late General Buhari came into power, what this administration did was to establish Operation Safe Corridor, where they were granting the killers of our soldiers and officers amnesty. Terrorists who have beheaded a lot of Nigerians, you granted them amnesty. And on the other hand, we have some of these terrorists who were pardoned, moving down to the northwest of Nigeria and also engaging in the area of banditry. Because when this Operation Safe Corridor was activated, at that period of time, Nifemi, that is when we begin to have the surge of banditry from the northwest. Where did they came from? And where did they come from? I mean to say, and how did they, get to organize themselves so swiftly? So for me, going by the judgment of Nnamdi Kanu, I think that is very wrong, because I'm not going to, abuse the judgment, but I'm going to say that for me, my own perspective, few days before then, someone who committed a crime or an act of terrorism was, jailed for 20 years, and someone who uses his own mouth to call for violence was, sentenced to life imprisonment. That is no balance of justice. That is selective justice, and that is not going to, bring about unity to our great country, Nigeria. And that's why we have to be very careful when it comes to crime and punishment. If you are going to pardon one, pardon everybody. If you are going to forgive some people on the name of the repentant terrorists, then forgive everybody, so that we will know that, yes, Nigeria is a criminogenic country or it's a crime scene.
I get your point, Dr. Saje. Opinions are sharply divided about this, and we're going to find time to explore it further. But the U.S. just agreed to deepen intelligence support, expedite defense equipment, and possibly provide excess defense hardware. At least that's what we're learning from the recent visit of the National Security Advisor and his team to the U.S. Will this shift anything significantly on the ground, say in the next 12 to 18 months?
Counterinsurgency is a systematic, approach, and also it's a two-way coin. From the military perspective and also from the political perspective. Most of these guys that are carrying out this arms and ammunition, they are being sponsored by one or two political class or political element or some criminal element or conflict entrepreneurs. So no matter the arms and ammunition you bring on board into this country space, all that we're going to do, all that is going to do is just to maybe eliminate the threats, eliminate the criminal guys, eliminate the fighters. But what about the organogram, their foundations, their sponsors, their financiers? What's going to happen to them? Because the more you kill, and I will tell you, the Nigerian military has been eliminating these guys since 2009, and they are still springing up. And a child who was born in 2009, Nifemi, is 16 years old today, and if that child is being bettered from a terrorist background, he's going to be a terrorist as well. So we need to go into the foundations. I appreciate the U.S. Support, their arms support, and also intelligence gathering support. But what are we going to do within? Because what is happening in Nigeria is that we are suffering from internal threats and enemy within. How do we eliminate the enemy within? Because if we still have this enemy within in our military unit, in our the DSS, in the police formation and other security parastatals, I tell you, this is going to be a wasteful effort. So we need to go all out to ensure that we eliminate the threat within, we eliminate the sponsors, the financiers, and ensure that every person who has committed crime against humanity in this country is brought to book, and so that we'll be able to keep that trace, so that you punish one, punish all, punish one and forgive one. We must take crime and punishment as a very serious business, so that our security agent will be able to, flush out this threat. And also one more thing, Nifemi, we're not talking about our national borders. The porosity of our national borders is also contributing to the state of insecurity. What are we going to do about our national borders? We need to have an effective policing of our national borders, cut off the arms supplies of these guys, because when it comes to counter-terrorism, three factors are involved: demobilize these guys, demoralize them, and also de-resource them. Where are they getting their resources from? We need to de-resource them and ensure that this intelligence gathering from the U.S. and also the arms and ammunition support will go a very long way in bringing Nigeria back to a state of peace again.
Let me hear from you, Chukwuma, before we go, because you represent a youth constituency that is emotionally invested in this issue. The federal government has been concerned about getting the people on its side, also getting the narratives right. How do you think it can get the young Nigerian population on its side in the fight against insurgency and terrorism at this time?
Come again, apologies.
I'm asking how you think government can get the its young population on its side. You started by mentioning what the feelers are in the Southeast as regards to the ability and potential of this government to fight this battle. How does this government get young Nigerians on its side in its fight against terrorism?
Yes, judging from the Southeast here, the government needs to make its arms and goodwill even to the regions. We in Southeast here, we encounter great insecurity and violence, yet we don't experience or meet or have what the federal government is doing in other regions, such as amnesty, such as non-kinetics, etc. There is need to
But your governors are joining the ruling party. They seem to have a different expression. What do you think?
I always want to maintain the distinct line between politics and governance. Partisan politics is politics, governance is non-partisan. The fundamental responsibility of government and governance is security to lives and property. It has nothing to do with partisan politics. Federal government is not, their efforts, their non-kinetic efforts, is not coming down to Southeast. We have clamored to grant amnesty to our youth here. We have experienced batches of repentant Boko Haram sects. But down here in Southeast, we do not feel that impact at all. It will be very hard to win the minds and hearts of Igbo youth precisely to whatever the federal government is doing, because we are exceptionally marginalized, we are denied, we are not accommodated in the scheme of things. None of us wants to join the military again, because every Igbo youth sees him or herself as a scapegoat. Am I communicating? So the federal government needs to activate its effort towards winning the hearts and minds of citizens. Like my colleague said, this is an internal violence. It's a challenge from within. You must look deep down inside to discover the roots and resolve it once and for all.
Good place to leave it, because we have completely run out of time, and I'm happy that you're able to land on your point. Chukwuma Okpalazeku is Igbo youth leader who's joined this conversation. Dr. Dixon Osagie, counterterrorism specialist and global security analyst. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on Beyond the Headlines.
Yeah, and thank you for all you do. Have a nice day.
You too. That's our show today, everyone. Thank you for being a part of it. Remember, you can watch it again at midnight and 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nife.